I have made over $250,000 over the last 4 years on Amazon KDP, and if I was to start over again as a complete beginner in 2024 and I wanted to make $10,000 a month as soon as possible, here is exactly what I would do. Now, before I jump into things, I want to make something very, very clear. This video is about achieving a $10,000 a month on Amazon KDP in the fastest way possible, not the easiest, not the cheapest, but the fastest. And the reason I wanted to make this video is because when I first started my KDP business over 4 years ago, I made so many mistakes that I actually had to quit my business for around 8 months. And looking back, if I knew what I know now, I probably could have hit a $10,000 a month within my first year. So in this video, I'll share with you how to avoid all of these mistakes and the 3 main things I would focus on to hit $10,000 a month if I was starting today as a beginner on Amazon KDP. So the first thing I would do is to actually not rush into making books. Now, I know that might sound weird, but most beginners are really tempted to jump straight in and start publishing the easiest kind of books to make, and that's a bad idea for reasons I'll go over in the next point. But for now, what I would do before even thinking about making a book is to spend time on YouTube or through courses or coaching to learn as much as I possibly can. The faster and earlier you can get access to the right advice and the right resources, the less time and effort you have to waste in going through all of the trial and error yourself. So with that said, what should you focus on as a beginner? Personally, I would start with learning all of the basics. So knowing exactly how to create a good looking book cover, how to do niche research, how to do keyword research. Focus on these things first before you even start creating a book. Now, I understand that sometimes you do have to learn from actually doing something, but there's a way to do this properly and put in some work beforehand. But at least if you understand why you're doing the things you're doing when you first start actually making a books, you understand why things might be going wrong. And that in itself is a really important lesson. Now, by the way, if you want to learn all of these things in one place without jumping between dozens of videos, I actually have a full 2-hour free course posted on YouTube that walks you through the A to Z of exactly how you can start your own Amazon KDP business. And I'll leave that in the description down below so you can check it out after this video. But if you really want to hit a 10K a month as soon as possible, the one thing I would recommend is to learn directly from a mentor who has done it themselves. And I know this sounds like a shameless plug, but honestly, I don't even care if you pay me or pay somebody else. But as someone who has spent thousands of hours with trial and error trying to figure out what works and what doesn't, if I could go back, I would 100% pay someone to help me skip that grind and get the same results in half or even a quarter of the time. Let's put this in a completely different example. Let's look at professional sports. If you think about it, there is not a single professional athlete in the world who doesn't have a coach. Everyone has to learn somewhere from someone, and Amazon KDP is absolutely no different. You can learn all by yourself, but it will be extremely tiring. It can be quite expensive because you make so many mistakes, and it can be really demoralizing when things inevitably go wrong. But if you're working directly with someone who's actually walked that path themselves, it can be so much more beneficial. Because if we're talking about making $10,000 a month on KDP as fast as possible here, then the last thing we want to do is waste months or even years going down the wrong path. When instead, we could just execute on a proven path and system from day one. But with that said, let's go over the second big mistake I see so many beginners making on KDP. And that is focusing on quantity rather than quality. Now, a lot of people believe that publishing as many books as possible is the best way to make money with KDP. And honestly, this is mostly due to gurus selling you the dream that making money online on KDP and achieving financial freedom is supposed to be easy. But the truth is, Amazon KDP is a business, and one of the most basic rules of business is that if you want to be successful, you need to be better than other businesses in some way. I would so much rather spend 10 hours on one really high quality KDP book than 1 hour per 10 KDP books that are going to make me nowhere near as much money. Trust me, it's not about how many books you create, it's about the quality of the books that you create. So if you want to get to your $10,000 a month as quickly as possible, but I'm telling you not to make as many books as you physically can, what should you do instead? Well, if I wanted to grow quickly, I would focus on something that I call hit rate instead. Now, hit rate in my words is the percentage of your books that actually sells. So if you produce 10 books and only one of them really sells, you'll have a hit rate of 10%. But if you create 10 books and 9 of them sell really well, you have a hit rate of 90% because 90% of those books have actually gone on to do what they're meant to do. So having a high hit rate usually means having a lower number of books but getting so many more sales from them. And of course, most of these gurus gurus preach the exact opposite. They'll tell you to make hundreds, if not thousands, of no-content books like journals and planners, and hope that one or two of these make some sales. But the truth is, if you have just one book that's really high quality in a good niche, with good keywords, with the right ads, you can make 10 or 100 times more money from that one book than you can 100 really low quality, no and low content books. So if I haven't got the message across enough yet, quality over quantity. So it's all well and good me talking about this hit rate, but how can you actually ensure you have a high hit rate with the books that you produce? Well, there's a few things that you can do. Now, number one is by utilizing a data-driven approach when it comes to your keyword research and your niche research. This is probably the most important step of all, because even if you spend hundreds of hours creating the perfect book, if people aren't interested in the topic of your book or the niche that you publish in, then you're not going to make any money from it. This is why I frequently recommend you invest in keyword research software like Helium 10, Publisher Rocket, and Helium 10 in particular, because there are so many different things that you can do. And I do have a video showing exactly how you can do keyword research with Helium 10, which I will also leave a link to on screen now. So you can go and watch that and understand exactly what I mean by utilizing this kind of software. And the second thing you need to do is, of course, you need to create good content for your book. So when I say good content for your book, I don't mean just other downloadable templates that anyone can access online with one click. Do your proper research, look at the competition in a certain niche, look at their really negative reviews, what are customers saying that they didn't like about those books, and also what are customers saying that they did like about those books. Look at all this information and data and then combine the two and create a book that A, satisfies all the issues that customers are currently having with the current offerings in that niche, and also still include the things that they're really enjoying from those books too. That way you're going to have a far superior product to all of your competition, and you're easily going to be able to take their sales. So basically, if I only had 10 hours a week to work on KDP, I would spend most of that time finding the best niches and keywords based on real life data from Amazon and also from these paid softwares that I've mentioned. And any of the remaining time I would use to create 1 or 2 high quality books based on that research per month. You really don't need to be creating 100 or even 200 books every single month just to be successful. Now, with that said, even though you're able to produce higher quality content, there's still a couple of essential steps that you'll need to take if you want to hit that $10,000 month with KDP as soon as possible. So once you have niche research and keyword research on lockdown, it's time to create and actually publish your book as fast as possible, right? Well, actually, no. And this is one of the biggest mistakes I see beginners make that massively holds them back. In reality, the fastest way to 6 figures plus on Amazon KDP isn't by making as many profitable books as possible yourself, but rather building a system that makes as many profitable books as possible. Now, here's what I mean. One high quality book could easily take you anywhere from 10 to 30 hours to make by yourself. And that doesn't even include all the time that goes into researching, publishing, marketing. But what if you had a system that could do all of those things for you? For example, a system that is able to consistently find new profitable niches and keywords for you, a system that creates books for you based on your research without having to take up any of your time, or even a system that takes care of all of the marketing for you so you're not staring at a screen all day trying to use Amazon KDP ads to get your book to sell. Now, you may be wondering, why would I need something like this? Well, the reality is you're not likely to make $10,000 every single month from a single book unless you get really lucky and hit the jackpot. So if you really want to be hitting these kinds of numbers, you have to be making a lot more books than that, which, if you're not being efficient with your book production and your system, can take you hundreds or even thousands of hours to do. And let's be real, unless you're living off your rich parents or a trust fund, you've probably got your hands filled with jobs, school, university, or something else that takes up the vast majority of your time. So the only way to realistically make $10,000 in a single month with Amazon KDP in a quick or even reasonable amount of time is to build systems that can publish profitable books without you having to spend hours doing it all yourself. So the big question is, how exactly do we do that? Well, again, there are 3 key systems you need to build if you want to build a profitable and successful Amazon KDP business. Number 1, a system for niche and keyword research. 2, a system for content and cover creation. And then finally, a system for marketing your books. So let's start with niche and keyword research. Personally, as I've mentioned, the tool that has given me the best results in my KDP business by far is Helium 10. And yes, Helium 10 is a paid tool. But again, our goal here is to do things quickly and effectively as possible and take up as little of our actual time as possible too. So if you really want to save money here, there are free tools out there like Seller App that will help you get started, but eventually you're going to want to transition into using the best tools available because a lot of the free software just is nowhere near as good as the paid software like Helium 10. Now, once you have a research system in place, the next step is systemizing your content creation. Now, out of everything, this is probably the one you're going to want to outsource first. Because again, if you're spending 10, 20 hours a week just creating the books, you're going to take forever to actually start making some real money with KDP. And remember, our goal with publishing on this platform isn't to become authors. We just want to build a real business that's actually profitable and leverages systems. So, how do we go about doing this? Well, first, I'd start with outsourcing really low-skill tasks like content research for your interior so you can spend more time focusing on keywords and finding good niches and utilizing those tools that we've just mentioned. Now, if you're creating something like an activity book or a coloring book, you can break down and segment every single part of that book and outsource the actual content creation to people on Upwork, on Fiverr, or even virtual assistants from other really useful websites. A lot of the time, the actual interior of a book is very low-skill to produce, but it just takes a lot of time to do. And that's why I massively recommend outsourcing it to someone that can not only do it better than you, they can do it faster than you, and then it can also do it cheaper than you would do if you value your time at a given rate. So with all that said and outsourcing your content creation, I would finally leave every single bit of leftover budget to invest into Amazon ads. And I know there's some people on here that don't like to talk about or even use Amazon KDP ads, but the truth is ads are essential if you're looking to quickly make sales with your books, especially on KDP in 2024. Because not only do they help you make sales quicker through the ads directly, they can also save you months of time by giving you instant feedback on whether your book has potential to sell or not. Because if loads of people are clicking on your ad but still not buying your book, there's clearly something wrong there. And with speed being one of our main objectives in this video here, it's absolutely essential that we have this fast feedback loop. Now, before you start blowing all of your money on Amazon ads, it's important that you also actually have the proper ad strategy in place. And if you want to learn my exact Amazon ad strategy, I have a full tutorial on my channel, so you can also check that out. So as you can see, if you want to hit $10,000 months as fast as possible on Amazon KDP, you're gonna have to invest in systems with your own resources. Now, you could do this without spending much money, but in life and in business, we can only pay with one of two things: our money or our time. And after spending the last 4.5 years going through trial and error of everything on Amazon KDP myself, I can confidently say that I would have paid almost any amount of money I had back then to buy 2 to 3 years of time and start living the life I have now a whole lot sooner. Now, obviously, I couldn't cover all the details or go through any detailed tutorials in this video specifically. So again, if you want to check out any of the free resources that I mentioned in this video, then I will link all of them down below in the description below. And on top of that, if you've already gotten the basics of Amazon KDP down to a T and you want to help scaling your business using a proven process, then I also have a link in the description where you can go and check out my free training on how I could potentially help you one-on-one scale your Amazon KDP business in 2024. Otherwise, I hope you got a lot of value and you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please do leave a like and also subscribe for more KDP content. And I will see you in the next one.